Greetings, everyone. In this video, we are responding to questions that have been posted here on YouTube. We always ask you at the end of every video to write your comments in the comment section. We might not be able to respond to all questions that you pose, but we try our best to address some of the questions in the video that we posted where we're discussing the white paper in relation to exemptions, what it says, where we spoke about the ZEP, Lesotho special permits and the Angolan special permits. Questions then arose. Some comrades are thinking that we said the exemption permits, particularly the Zimbabwe exemption permit, will not be scrapped. This is a wrong understanding. Let me read one comment so that we clarify this position. One comrade writes, he says, you are misleading people, Mabena. How can the ZEP continue when Dr. Aaron has appealed? What is the point of him appealing? Why couldn't he withdraw the whole thing of ZEP termination? You wish you could be in control of South Africa and its people and Amapena. Some Zimbabweans have left on reading. Right. What we said was the proposal in the white paper, which we need to make two distinctions. The minister has a power in terms of the immigration laws to grant an exemption to anyone under special circumstances. In the white paper that we read, it does not show whether that act is going to be removed, which will leave the minister without any power to grant any exemption to anyone. This does not refer to the current Minister of Home Affairs. Assuming a new minister comes into office after elections, according to the white paper, and of course, until we get a legal opinion from the lawyers, but from reading that white paper, it does not show that the said act that grant the powers to the Minister of Home Affairs to grant exemption permits to anyone is being removed. The Cabinet on the 24th of November 2021 took a decision not to extend the Zimbabwe exemption permits. So let's not confuse the two. The Zimbabwe exemption permit is not being extended, right? There is a cabinet resolution or decision on that the Zimbabwe exemption permit will be discontinued. But if you discontinue with the Zimbabwe exemption permit, it does not take the power from the minister to grant any person an exemption under special circumstances. This can be an individual, it can be a group of people that the minister will have considered their circumstances and they grant them exemptions. This does not speak to the Zimbabwe exemption permit. That's the distinction that we have to make, because the Zimbabwe exemption permit, whatever happens, some are saying we're writing here that await the judgment of the Constitutional Court. The Zimbabwe exemption permit is being discontinued. There's a standing cabinet decision on that. And the Helen Suzman Foundation court case and others was not to challenge the minister or cabinet to say they have no power to discontinue. We have discussed this. There are a number of videos in this channel where we've discussed this. The Helen Suzman Foundation, in its court papers, said that when the decision was taken, there was no consultation on the impact of the decision. It did not argue that the government does not have any power to discontinue. Because if government has the power to grant, certainly it must have the power to withdraw. just an example. If the president has the power to appoint someone to be a minister, it means the president has the power to remove a person as a minister. We always say he who appoints has the power to disappoint. So that's what basically we're saying. So we're saying in future, in terms of what we're reading, the minister will continue to have a right to grant exemptions to an individual or individuals under special circumstances whenever the minister feels the need to grant that exemption. So that act, according to what we have been reading, it does not take away that right. Then there is a comment on when we're discussing the decision by the UK government to send refugees, asylum seekers to Rwanda. Then Comrade Tabang Kiat wrote, I read, Asylum, refugee, migration, borders, etc. are not solution for Zimbabweans, Nigerians, Congolese, etc. problems. Your migration attitude of non-responsive and your victim mentality is killing you, Mabena. Learn from people of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso on how to fight your own countries, guys. Stop behaving homeless. We value the contribution by the comrade, but it's important also to clarify this so that the comrade also does not mislead. Look, in Mali and the rest of the Sahel region, which by the way we have been discussing as part of our political education, the mass of the people did not remove a sitting government through an election. This is why Mali remains suspended from the African Union. Because the people did not, through a democratic elections or through the guidelines set out by the regional body and the continental body, which is AU, in terms of holding elections. The people of Mali did not participate in the electoral process to remove a sitting government to power to an extent that Comrade Kiati and others will say you need to, Zimbabweans, Nigerians, DRC, you need to do like the people of Mali. What happened in Mali? It was a military coup. And in the rest of the Sahel region, it has been military coup. This is why Mali is suspended from the African Union. I'm not sure if Comrade Cloud then is speaking to our military in Zimbabwe, in Nigeria, in DR Congo, to effect or to carry out a military coup. I'm not very sure. But if it was about change of government, yes, change of government happened through a military coup. We discussed in this very channel that there are those coups, military coups, that are progressive. And the military coup in Mali is one of those progressive ones. But there are others, military coups, which are not progressive, which are reactionary in nature. Why do we say they are reactionary in nature? If a government of the day does not toe the imperialist line, France, USA, and others, their friends, they will then fund others in the military to carry out a military coup for the purposes of removing a government that is seen in the eyes of the imperialist forces is no longer dancing to the tune of the imperialists, then they will do what they did in Libya in 2011. And there are a number of examples where the imperialist forces will fund military commanders or lieutenants or whatever rank you call them to carry out a coup. And immediately that government, which is a result of that military coup, will be supported by the West. So we thought it's important to clarify that to Comrade Cloudy and the others that think like him. This also links to what Comrade Selo Monama wrote, where he's suggesting that people should not run away from their countries, people should stay put in their countries. What the African Union has not done, this is why some of us, we call for the reformation or transformation of the African Union, is that it has protected the political leadership against the people. Because every citizen or the people themselves express their views through a democratic election. It is not the ordinary people that ensure that there is a democratic election or a democratic election does take place. It is those that are in power that must ensure that the institutions that are responsible for running elections are democratic. People have a right to campaign, a right to register as candidates, and a right to vote. And in the most of cases, this does not happen. When the people then rise, it is the AU and the regional bodies that stand in solidarity with those governments. So what Comrade Selo Monama and others, what they are missing the critical component of people-to-people solidarity. So if there is people-to-people solidarity, people of Zimbabwe, people of South Africa in solidarity, people of Nigeria and so forth, in solidarity, we build people-to-people solidarity. This will exert pressure to sitting governments. By the way, this channel is not calling on the removal of sitting governments. What we are basically saying is that institutions, including the government itself, that have a responsibility of running elections are democratic. In other words, people have a right to express themselves so that the outcome of an election produces the wishes of the people. That is to say, a government that is elected must be elected on the basis that the people expressed themselves in the ballot, as we are going to see on the 29th of May in South Africa. You can imagine if the ANC-led government firstly was to capture the Independent Electoral Commission, as is the case in Zimbabwe and other countries. If the ANC-led government captures the Independent Electoral Commission, captures the judiciary, right? We are following the discussion, or even in the courts, MK versus ANC. The fact that the African National Congress has not captured these institutions. This is why the ANC has been losing cases to MK party, which, by the way, the IEC and the MK party are now in the Constitutional Court, right? But in another African country, MK party and in particular former President Zuma will not be campaigning. It's a reality. We saw in Zimbabwe with the one Xavier Square. It's a reality. So this is why it is critical that the institutions that run elections allow an outcome that the people will feel that it is an outcome that they desired. Once that happens, you can then blame the same people to say, but why do you elect this government? Why do you elect this political party? Immediately you elect this political party, you then run away instead of rebuilding your country. We'll continue with this discussion. Please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend. Amandla, comrades.